Hello folks, I want to show you how, and I hope I'm not upside down in all kinds of ways. We are going to learn to knit using these needles. Our first shawl, these are size 8s. I picked these up at Hobby Lobby. 5mm, and they have the cord on them, so they're circular needles, and I think these are like a 29-inch. You want circulars. We're knitting flat back and forth. We're not knitting in the round, but we need this cord just to hold our stitches, because as we get further along, you know how wide a shawl can be. Okay, so we start off with the slip knot, which I just take it like this. I don't do all this fancy stuff. I just twist and pull the end. See, there's my end. Just pull it up through the loop and cinch it. And I stick it on my needle. So let me show you the yarn I'm using. It's impeccable and it's beautiful. I love the colorway. It's called Rose Fog, I think. Yeah, Rose Fog Variegated. And there's all your specs on it. For this particular shawl pattern, and I think it's called the Easiest Shawl. When I picked it up at AC Moore, which was just a free pattern that you pull off the shelves, I'm pretty sure it was called the Easiest Shawl in the World. You can find it at the AC Moore store site, so go to acmoore.com, and it will have a place where you can find free patterns, and it's there. It's not called that. I think it's just called Simple Shawl or Easiest Shawl or Easy Knit Shawl, something like that. Okay, I'm going to show you a different cast on instead of the knitted, which you can totally do, but I just go from my yarn on my needle to under my finger, my index finger, and pull it over, and then I go like this and just pull it. Now you need a stitch marker. For my stitch marker, I used one of the charms that Allison from used to be Mommy's Life, and now she's Allie's, oh, I forget, something pantry. But y'all know Allison, I think you do. And anyway, I just got a little pack of rubber bands and used a ring, and I did it like this because, yeah, it looks huge for this little needle, but I can use this for great big needles. As long as my rubber band doesn't snap, and they've been pretty durable so far. Okay, so you cast on 2, you put your slip marker on. I'm going to go behind my slip marker so I don't get it knitted in. I'm going to cast on 2 more stitches. Somebody asked me for this pattern, so I thought instead of sharing the pattern, which I'm not even sure where it is, and my printer's out of ink, so I've told you where to find it. If you didn't hear, you can rewind. This is so easy. It's a 1-row repeat, guys. So you're going to knit the first stitch. So K1. And now I'm going to show you a yarn over, which we haven't done yet, but it's so easy. Your yarn's here. You're going to bring it around from the back to the front. And that's a yarn over. Easy peasy. It increases by 1. And now I'm going to knit the next stitch. And then my pattern tells me to knit all the stitches before I get to my stitch marker. So I'm at my stitch marker now. So I'm going to yarn over again. Just do that. When you put your stitch marker on, when you begin, it just goes to It says PM for place marker, and then after that it says SM for slip marker. So I just slipped it. I seem to keep going off the field of vision there. And I'm going to flip this up a little bit just so I'm not knitting it in with my stitches. You can use any kind of stitch marker you want to. And I'm holding this because it's yarn over. And then the pattern says to knit, after I slip my stitch marker, to knit the rest. So there's only 2. And sometimes you'll need to pull on that tail a little bit. So now I've increased. Remember, this used to have 2, then the stitch marker, then 2 more. I've increased 2 stitches because if you remember, I did 2 yarn overs. Gotta try to remember to stay in the middle here. Okay, now I knit 1, or your pattern will say K1. And then it's going to tell you to YO, which is yarn over, which that's all you do for yarn over. Then it's going to tell you to knit till you get to your stitch marker. And that kind of... No, it didn't. Okay, so now I do another yarn over, and now I'm going to SM, slip marker. Then I kind of have to hold this. And then it tells, my pattern tells me to just knit all the rest after the stitch, after you slip the marker. One row repeat, guys. It couldn't get any simpler. So now I have 4 on this side, 4 on this side again. We're starting at this part's going to be at the nape of your neck, and then grow outwards from there. It's going to be a little open spine, a little open lace work down the spine, just very simple. Okay, my pattern tells me once again to K1, knit 1. Then it's going to say YO, or yarn over. So I just take my yarn and do that. Then it's going to tell me to knit all stitches till I get to my stitch marker. And then it's going to tell me to do another yarn over. So I always knit 1 yarn over and then knit till I get to my stitch marker. Then I'm going to do another yarn over, and I'm going to SM, slip my marker from the left side to the right side. And I'm going to pull this up out of the way just a minute. Got to kind of hang on to that since it's a yarn over. And then I just knit the rest of my stitches. And that's all you do, guys. That's the whole pattern, 1 row repeat. And you just go and go and go until your triangular shawl is as big as you want it, as wide as you want it, as long as you want it. I just love it. You can use all different kinds of yarn. Any kind of yarn you want to use. Just make sure you use the suggested needle size that's on the package. Okay, so again, K1, which means knit 1, YO, which means yarn over. So I just take my yarn and do that. Then it says knit all stitches until you get to your stitch marker. So now I'm at my stitch marker. So I'm going to yarn over again. And SM, remember yarn over is abbreviated YO, and SM is slip marker. So I just pick it up off the left, put it on the right, hold this so it doesn't go anywhere, and then knit the rest. And that's all I do, guys, for the whole entire shawl. Could not be simpler. And have a little tiny bit of fancy to it. By knitting one and yarning over, you're creating a little kind of cutesy border. I don't know if you can see that, but see how the yarn overs make a little hole in between. That's the same thing on this side. And then this in the middle, you'll soon see how that's looking, how it crosses over. My battery's done, folks, so I know this was really short, but it's totally the same thing over and over and over and over and over. And golly, I gotta keep an eyeball on time, so I don't want to miss my life. Be just like me. So knit one, K1, then YO, yarn over, knit all stitches till I get to my stitch marker. So just knit, 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 knit. Not many in the beginning, but then as you keep going, every time you yarn over, you're increasing stitches, and you're also creating that little eyelet looking hole, which makes a fancy little edge. So I'm to my stitch marker. See my stitch marker right there? So it's time to YO, yarn over, and SM, slip the marker, take it off of there, put it here. I probably shouldn't have used this kind of stitch marker. I should have used something you could see better, but it's what I had handy. Then it just says knit all the rest. And that's my one row repeat. I just keep doing over and over and over. Like I said, till you get to the size that you want. I wanted to do enough so you could kind of, can you kind of see how this is going to go down the middle of your back. And it creates a kind of a, just a sort of a open cross work. You see that? You got these little knit one yarn overs that creates this fancy little border on both sides. It's kind of hard to see, but they're there. And then this, you got to make sure you keep your stitch marker in the right place, or you'll get off and your spine will be wonky. It won't be straight down your back. So I'm sorry, but that's all the time I have because my battery is dying. I may come back on and do some more. But I hope you're getting the knitting. And there's the pattern for whoever wanted it. Again, if you want the printed pattern, let me grab this off of here. Turn this around. Hey, y'all. Mouth is dry. I need something to drink. Squirrels. Thank you, Allison. See ya. I hope this goes up. I know My chapters for my books didn't go up till late because I had errors once again and didn't check. So I was saying, hope y'all catch my live, and it was totally like almost midnight last night, and my live was at 5. Y'all know how I am. So let me go try to get this to upload, and I've done my reading for today. So hopefully those books have uploaded, or they will soon. I got yarn out here that I need to dye. I need to do stitch markers. Need to knit some more hats. My need-to list just gets bigger and bigger. But anyway, be sweet, don't be ugly, and hope your knitting's coming along. Bye-bye.